Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Brachos Daf Memvav. We're right on top of the Amud. Says the Gemara, Rav Zera Chalash. Rav Zera fell ill. Al l'gabei Rav Avo. Rav Avo came in to visit him. Kabel alei. He was makabel on himself. He accepted upon himself a commitment as follows. He said, Imitpach Katina Chorich Shaki. If Rav Zera, who was called Katina, the small one, the short one, Chorich Shaki, with the singe, with the burnt thighs. Imitpach Katina Chorich Shaki. If Rav Zera recovers from his illness, they refer to him in this way as Katina Chorich Shaki. The Gemara B'Metzia explains because Rav Zera used to conduct on himself a very interesting experiment. He used to go into a hot oven once every 30 days to check himself, to examine himself, to see if he's susceptible to the fire of the oven and whether he'll be vulnerable to the ash of the fire of Gehenna. So this worked many times until one time, as a result of some sort of ayin hara, when he entered the oven, he was slightly burnt. So they used to call him Katina Chorich Shaki, with the singe, with the burnt thighs. So Rav Avo said as follows: if he recovers, I am being makabel, I am accepting upon myself the following commitment. Avidna Yom Tov Rabbanon. I will make a Yom Tov, a day of feast for the Rabbanon. Says the Gemara, indeed he recovered. Itpach, Rav Zera recovered from the illness. And Rav Avo followed through. Avod Sudas L'Kul Rabbanon. Rav Avo made a Suda for all the Rabbanon. Kimata L'Mishri, when it came time to begin the meal, to recite the Amaiti, to slice the bread. Amar Leila Rav Zera. So Rav Avo turned to Rav Zera and he said, Lishalon Mar, please you start the meal for us. He wanted to honor him. Amar Leila, so Rav Zera responds, Lo Savar Lamar, do you then not hold the Rav Yochanan? This that Rav Yochanan taught us, that I'm not suitable, I'm not meant to be the one to begin the meal. He said, the Amar, Balabayis Beitzea, the host is meant to be the Beitzea, to make hamaiti, to slice the bread. Okay, Sharlu. So Rav Avo listened and he began the meal. Kimat Levruche. When they concluded the meal, it came time for Brachos Hamazon. Amar Leis. Now again, Rav Avo turns to Rav Zera and he said, Nivrachon Mar, please honor us, make the bracha, make the Brachos Hamazon. Amar Lei. So Rav Zera responds again, do you not hold of the opinion of Rav Huna from Bavel, who told us, to Amar, who said, the same person who's the Boitseya who begins the meal, he is the one that's meant to conclude it with the Brachos Hamazon on account of the whole group. So I'm not the one that is meant to make the Brachos Hamazon for the Suda. Says the Gemara, V'iyu K'man Svirle, Rav Avo, who wanted to offer this privilege to Rav Zera, whose opinion was he following? Says the Gemara, he followed Ki Hadam Rav Yochanan Shimshon Rechai Balabais Beitzei. Indeed, the host is meant to be the Beitzei, but Va'oirach Mevarich, the guest, is the appropriate one to make the bracha, the Brachos Hazimon, the Brachos Hamazon. Why? Explains the Gemara, Balabais Beitzei, the host is meant to slice the bread so that on account of his generosity, he'll hand out large slices of bread. So therefore the host is meant to be the Beitzei. Va'orach mevarich. And the guest is meant to make the bracha. Why? So that he can make a special bracha, a unique bracha, directed at the Balabayis. As the Gemara soon will explain. So therefore, Rav Avo wanted to give the honor, wanted to mechabed Rav Zera, Brachos Hamazon, because although the host is meant to be the Beitzei, but the Oirach is meant to make the Brachos Hamazon. So the obvious question is, if the host of Halbai is meant to be the Beitzei, so why did Rav Avo initially offer that to Rav Zera as well? He wasn't the host, he was merely the Oirach. Answer the Mefarshim, because this meal was unique. It was established for Rav Zera. It was established because of his recovery. So Rav Avo held that he has the status of host. He is considered to be the Balbayis of the Suda, and therefore he should be the Beitzei. Rav Zera said, no, I'm not the host, you're the host. And Mamela, you should be the Beitzeiah. Okay, so the Baal Bayis is meant to be the Beitzeiah on account of his generosity, and the Oirach is meant to make the Brachos HaMazon on account of this unique Bracha that he will bless the Baal Bayis with. It says the Gemara, "My Mevorach," what's contained in this Bracha? He Ratzain, it should be Hashem's will, that the host should not incur any shame in this world. He should not have any embarrassment in the world to come. Rebbe would add more words to this bracha. He should be very successful with all his assets. And his and our assets should be mutzlachim, successful, and close by, close to the city, so that we can keep an eye on them. And the Satan should not have any control. Not in his handiwork, not in ours, and it shouldn't present itself. Not in front of him, in front of the host, not in front of us. No machshava, thought of sin, from now until forever. Continues the Gemara. I mentioned before that when a group of people are eating together, one of them is meant to interrupt his meal and join the zimun of the other two when they're ready to make zimun. So now that he has to wait for zimun, until what point, how long does he need to wait before he can resume his meal? Until what point is Birchas HaZimun? What does it extend to? At Heichen Birchas HaZimun? Rav Nachman Amar, Ad Nevarech. Birchas HaZimun is merely the introduction. The Nevarech, the first part, that is Birchas HaZimun. Not past that. The Nevarech, the declaration that he invites them to come join the Birchas HaZimun, and their response, that is Birchas HaZimun. But no more. Rav Sheshes Amar Hazon. Birchas HaZimun extends into Hazon, extends up until the end of the first bracha, Birchas HaMazon, Hazon HaSayim Kuloi. Birchas HaZimun, Nevarech, is an introduction to Birchas Hazon, and it's all considered to be somewhat part of the Birchas HaZimun. Therefore, he needs to wait until the Mezamen concludes the first bracha, Birchas HaMazon, until Hazon HaSakoil, and then he can resume his meal. Says the Gemara, perhaps it seems like this will be connected. This is related to a machlekes tanoim. What is considered to be Birchas HaZimun? Is it only the first introduction, or does it extend into the first bracha, Birchas HaMazon? We have a machlekes tanoim as follows. The Tani Chada, we have one brisa which says Birchas HaMazon shtayim v'shleisha. Birchas HaMazon can be divided into 2 or 3 sections. Taisus explains it's referring to a case where they want to divide Birchas HaMazon, that each person should recite another section, and it can be divided into sections, where each person will say his bracha, and perhaps he might see the other ones. So, how many sections does Birchas HaMazon contain? Shnai v'shleisha, 2 or the most 3. V'tanyidach, we have another brayso which says shleish v'arba, that it contains 3 up to 4 sections. Says Umar, how are we going to understand the discrepancy between the 2 brises? According to the first brisa, the most you can divide Birchas HaMazon is into 3. The second brisa holds 4. Says Umar, Savru, the Bnei Yeshiva held. They assumed that the Kuli Alma Hatoiv Metiv L'Avdaraisi. Everybody agrees. Both brises contend that the 4th bracha that we recite, the bracha of Hatoiv Metiv, that is not deraisa. It's not biblically obligated. It was established by the Rabbanon. Therefore, when they cite these numbers 2, 3, 3, 4, they're not including Birchas HaTov HaMeitiv. They're only referring to the brachas that are midaraisa. My love, if so, you must say Baal Kamiflagi. This is the root of their dispute. The Tana which says that Birchas HaMazon can be divided up into 3 sections, he holds Kasavar Ad Hazon, that Birchas HaZimun extends until the end of the first bracha of Birchas HaMazon. So we're left with 3 sections in total. We have the first section from Nevarech up until Hazon HaSakoil. Then we have Noidilcha, which is called Birchas Haaretz. And then we have the next bracha, which is called Bnei Yerushalayim. We don't include Hatoiv HaMeitiv. So that's the basis for the first brisa, that Birchas HaMazon contains 3 sections. The second Tana which says that Birchas HaMazon can be divided into 4 segments, because Sava Ad Nevarech. he holds the Brachos Hazimun is only that first bracha, that introduction, and therefore we have that as one. Then we have another 3 brachos of Brachos Hamazon for a total of 4. So evidently, this machlokes between Rav Nachman and Rav Sheshes, what is the definition of Brachos Hazimun? Until where does it extend? Is it merely the first introduction, or does it extend into the first bracha of Brachos Hamazon? Apparently, this is the basis of the machlokes Tanoim as well. Says, well, no. Rav Nachman Mataris Tamei, Rav Sheshes Mataris Tamei. Rav Nachman and Rav Sheshes both will interpret the Brachos in accordance with their understanding. Explains it more. Rav Nachman Mataris Tamei, Rav Nachman will explain both Brachos in accordance with his reasoning as follows. The Kuli Alma Ad Nevarech, everybody holds that Brachos Hazimun is merely the first introduction of Nevarech. If so, Manda Amar Shalosh V'Arba Shaper, the shita that says that benching can be divided into 4 sections, that works well. We have Nevarech, then we have the additional 3 brachos. Umanda Amar Shtayim V'Shalosh. However, the Brisa which says that Brachos Hamazon is divided up until 3 sections, Amar Lach, we will explain as follows. Rav Nachman will say to you, we're referring to not the ordinary standard Brachos Hamazon that one ordinarily recites that contains 3 brachos or 4 brachos. We're referring to the Brachos Poyalim, the unique nusach text of Brachos Hamazon that the Chacham established for the laborers, since they're engaged in the labor and the work of the employer. They're not meant to take up too much time from their work, so the Chacham abridged their Brachos Hamazon in the following manner. As we learned, Pesach V'Azon, they begin with the first bracha in its entirety, Azan Sa'ilam, they say in completion. And then they make an abbreviated version of the next 2 brachas. They combine, they synthesize. They include reference to Bnei Yerushalayim, which is the 3rd bracha, into Birchas Haaretz, into the 2nd bracha. So in total, they recite Hazan and one more bracha, which is a combination of Bnei Yerushalayim and Birchas Haaretz. So this is what the Brisa is referring to, that the Brachos Poyalim can be divided at most into 3 sections, because we have the first introduction of Nevarech, the Brachos Hazimun, then we have the additional 2 parts of Brachos Hamazon. So everything works out according to Rav Nachman. Both Brises agree that Brachos Hazimun is merely the Nevarech. The first Brisa which says that a Brachos Hamazon can be divided into 4 sections for 4 people, we're referring to the ordinary Brachos Hamazon, the standard Brachos Hamazon. The second Brisa which says at most it can be divided into 3 sections, that is the Brachos Poyalim. Rav Sheshes and Mataretz L'Tamei, Rav Sheshes as well will interpret the Brises according to his reasoning. As follows, the Kuli Alma Adazon, everybody agrees that Brachos Hazimun extends until including the Brachos Hazan, the first bracha of Brachos Hamazon. If so, how do we explain the Brises? Manda Amar Shtayim V'Shalosh Shaper. The first Brisa which says the first Brisa which says that Brachos Hamazon can be divided up until 3 sections, 2 or 3 sections. It works out well, because the first section contains Zimun, which is from the Varach up until Azan Sakol. Then we have another 2 brachas, Brachos Haaretz and Bnei Yerushalayim. Umanda Mishalish V'Arba. How are we going to explain the next Brisa? How could Brachos Hamazon be divided into 4? Because Savar, this Brisa holds, this Tana holds, that indeed HaToiva Meitiv D'Oraisa. He makes reference, he includes the 4th bracha of Brachos Hamazon, HaToiva Meitiv. Since he holds that it is Mid'Oraisa, it is a Chiv Min HaTorah to be recited. Therefore, he includes it into his numbers. And that's why he says that Brachos Hamazon can be divided into 4 sections. Again, the first section is from the Varech up until Azan Sakol. Then we have Birchas Haaretz, Bnei Yerushalayim, and HaToiva Meitiv. So, in summary, we have a machlokes between Rav Nachman and Rav Sheshes regarding the definition of Brachos Hazimun. According to Rav Nachman, Brachos Hazimun is merely the first introduction of Nevarech. That's number 1. Then comes Hazan, which is number 2. Then Birchas Haaretz. Then Bnei Yerushalayim, for a total of 4 sections. The Brisa that says that at most we can divide into 3 sections, that's referring to the Brachos Hamazon for the laborers, for the Poyalim. And in that case, Nevarech is the first bracha, Hazan is the second, and the 3rd bracha is a combination of Birchas Haaretz and Bnei Yerushalayim. And none of these Brises are accounting for Hatayva Meitiv, since that bracha is in the Rabbanon. According to Rav Sheshes, we will interpret the Brachos as follows. Rav Sheshes holds that Brachos Hazimun encompasses Nevarech up until Azan Sakol. So that's number one. Number two, the second bracha is Brachos Haaretz. Number three is Bnei Yerushalayim. So that explains the first brisa. That explains the brisa which says that Brachos Hamazon contains up until 3 sections. However, the brisa which says that Brachos Hamazon contains up until 4 sections, he holds that Toiva Meitiv is also Menat Torah, and therefore he includes it into his calculation. Continues the Gemara on the subject of Brachos Toiva Meitiv. Is it or is it not Midarais? Amar Rav Yosef, Teda, you should know, I want to prove to you that Toiva Meitiv Lav Darais. It can't be that Toiva Meitiv is a Chiv Darais. Why? Sharei Poyalim. We find that laborers, they delete it. They don't recite this bracha. Apparently, it's merely the Rabbanon who allowed the Poyalim, who instructed the laborers not to recite this bracha. Omar Risa Vashmov Amaratim Shmei Derav. Teda, I will prove to you that Toiva Meitiv Lav Darais. It can't be that Toiva Meitiv is a bracha Darais. Sharei, because Pesach v'Baruch, we find that the bracha of Toiva Meitiv begins. It opens with Baruch Atah Hashem, but doesn't conclude with Baruch. The fact that it opens with Baruch, that's an indication that it's a bracha d'Rabbanan. As the Gemara will explain. Kedesan is we learned on a brisa. What is the general rule regarding brachos? Kol brachos kol on all brachos. Pesach v'Baruch. It opens with Baruch, v'Baruch, and concludes with Baruch. Except chutz and brachas ha-peiros, or brachas ha-mitzvos, the bracha recited on peiros, on mitzvos, or bracha smuchal chaverta, a bracha which is recited next to a different bracha, or bracha chorin shebe-krishma, the last bracha of the brachas krishma. Explains the brisa. Yesh men, some of these exceptions, some of them shepesech v'Baruch, that they open with Baruch, ve'in choitzim Baruch, but don't conclude with Baruch. Rashi explains, for instance, brachas peiros, brachas ha-mitzvos, they open with Baruch, but they don't require chasim of Baruch. Why? Because they're straightforward, they're simple brachas, don't contain many elements, they address one topic, and therefore it is sufficient to begin with Baruch, and there is no Baruch at the chasimah. Continues the brisa. For yesh men, there are others shechoisim Baruch that conclude with Baruch, although they don't begin with Baruch, they ain't poiser for Baruch, but don't open with Baruch. What is that? It says Rashi Kigoy, for instance, bracha smuchal chaverta, a bracha which is recited in close proximity to another bracha, which that bracha opens with a baruch. Therefore, the second bracha doesn't have a baruch on account of the fact that it is connected to the previous bracha, which has baruch in its opening. The same thing regarding the bracha achroin of Krishma. Rashi says, referring to emes v'yatziv, emes v'emuna. These brachas, although Krishma comes in between the brachas before Krishma, and they interrupt between these brachas of emes v'yatziv, emes v'emuna, in between them and the brachas before Krishma, which contain baruch. The bracha before Krishma starts with Baruch Atah Hashem Yitzroy, etc. Even though there's a hefsek, nevertheless, they're still considered to be in the category of bracha smuchal haverta, and don't require. We don't begin these brachas, we don't open them with a baruch. Says the Gemara, what about Hatayva Meitiv? We find that Hatayva Meitiv pesach b'baruch, ve'in choisim b'baruch. Hatayva Meitiv opens with Baruch Atah Hashem, but doesn't conclude with a baruch. Now, why does Hatayva Meitiv have a psicha b'baruch? Why does it open with baruch? Isn't it a bracha smuchal haverta? It's recited samuch to the brachas, to the previous brachas, which contain baruch. Mechlal, this implies, we see from here, the bracha b'fnei atzmahi, that apparently Hatayva Meitiv is a separate entity. It's considered to be an independent bracha, unrelated, not attached to the previous brachas of brachas hamazon. They're deraisa. He's merely the Rabbanon. Therefore, he's not considered to be a bracha asmuchal chaverta, and requires a psicha b'baruch, required to begin with Baruch Atah Hashem for the bracha Toiva Meitiv. So this proves to us that Toiva Meitiv apparently is a bracha d'Rabbanan. Continues the Gemara, for Amar Nachman Yitzchak, Teda, that Toiva Meitiv av d'Oraisa. I will prove to you that Toiva Meitiv indeed is not d'Oraisa, and Sharei Eikun Oisa b'Beis Aval. in a home of a mourner, they don't recite it, they delete it. So apparently it's merely D'Rabbanan. K'desan, as we learned, Ma'im Oimr Beis Avel. What do they say? How do they bench in a home of a mourner? They say Baruch HaTov HaMeitiv. Rav Akiva, Baruch Dayan Emes. Hashem, who is the true judge. Says the Gemara, the Tanna Kama said HaTov HaMeitiv in Dayan Emes Loi. You meant to say HaTov HaMeitiv, Hashem who is good and gives goodness. We don't recite Dayan Emes, only HaTov HaMeitiv. Says the Gemara, Ella, rather say Eima Af HaTov HaMeitiv. Tanna Kama holds that he says both. He says Baruch Hashem HaTov HaMeitiv and also Dayan Emes. Rav Akiva holds no. We delete HaTov HaMeitiv. One only recites, says Baruch Dayan Emes. So apparently this is an indication that Brachos HaTov HaMeitiv is a lenient bracha. It's a bracha midrabanan, therefore it's deleted. It is not said in the Beis Avel. Continues the Gemara, Mar Zutra Ikul Rav Ashi. Rav Zutra visited Rav Ashi, Isra B'Milsa, and an unfortunate thing happened, and one of his relatives passed away. Pasachu Baruch. So he began to make the bracha by Brachos HaMazon. He said, HaToiv HaMeitiv, Hashem who is Toiv, and is Meitiv, Keil Emes, the God of truth, Dayan Emes, a true judge, Shoifed B'Tzedek, who judges with righteousness, Loikeach B'Mishpat, who takes away B'Mishpat, with judgment, V'Shalit B'Olamai, and is control of his world, Lasas B'Kirit to do with it as he sees fit. K'chol Drochav Mishpat, all his ways are just. Shakol Shalai, everything belongs to him. V'Nachnu Amai, we're his nation. V'Abadav, and his servants. U'Bakoil, and everything that happens, regardless of what it is. Anachnu Chayovim Lahoidas Lai, we are required, obligated to thank him, to praise him, Levarcha, and to bless him. Goider Pirtzis v'Yisrael, Hashem who mends the fences, the breaches in Klal Yisrael. Hu Yigdar, he also should mend this Apirtza Azois v'Yisrael, this breach in Klal Yisrael, L'chaim, to life. So this was the nusach that he would say, as the Mepharshim bring down. Then he went on and continued to the rest of the bracha of HaTov HaMeitiv, Ukmalano, etc. So in summary, we learned that Birchas HaTov HaMeitiv is a bracha d'Rabbanan, and we have three proofs, three rayas. Number one, Sharei Poelim Oikrim Risa, because the laborers delete it. Apparently this bracha is more lenient, and therefore they don't recite this bracha in their benching. The second proof was from the fact that we are Peseach Baruch. We open with Baruch. Apparently, HaTov HaMeitiv is not attached to the previous brachas of Brachos HaMazon, since they're deraisa and he is merely d'Rabbanan. The final raya was from the fact that we are Oikreis B'Beis Avel. We don't recite it in a mourner's home. Apparently, it's merely d'Rabbanan. Continues the Gemara. Le'echanu Chayzer. Taisus explains, the Gemara is referring to the person who led the Brachos HaZimun. He announced to them, Nevarech, come join me in our collective Brachos HaZimun. And they responded, Baruch Shachal Meshaloi. Now he will respond after them. What is he meant to respond? Is he meant to say, Baruch Shachal Meshaloi? That's where he's up to. That's where he stopped. He already said Nevarech. He told him, Baruch. Is that what he's meant to say? Or is he meant to go back and say, Nevarech Shachal Meshaloi? So Machlekes, Rav Zid Amar, Rav Zid Mishad Abai Amar, Chayzel Roish, he goes back to Nevarech, and that's what he's meant to say, Nevarech Shachal Meshaloi. V'Rabbanan Amri L'Bakim Shepasak. He's meant to say Baruch Shachal Meshaloi. V'Ilchasa, indeed, the halacha is L'Bakim Shepasak, that he's meant to say Baruch Shachal Meshaloi, and indeed, that is our custom today. Amalei Rish Gelusa of Sheshes. Rish Gelusa told of Sheshes. Hafagav the Rabbanan Kshishiatun. Although you're elderly scholars, you should know that Parsoi, the Persians, B'tzarchei Seuda, regarding dinner etiquette, B'ki Minaycha, they're more proficient than you. As follows. This is their program. This is the way they conduct their meals. Bizman shein shtei mitos, when they have two people which will be reclining on two beds, that was their practice, they would recline on the bed when they eat. So Gadol Mesa Barosh, the more prominent individual, would sit down first, would lie down first on his bed. Visheniloi, the second one, meaning the one that is less prominent, he would go Lamalim, and he would recline on the bed, which was positioned to the head side of the Gadol. Ubezmanchem Shalish. But if they have three people attending, then Gadol Mesa Be'emtza. the most prominent one gets the middle position. Sheni Loi, the one that is Sheni Loi, that is second in prominence. Lamala Menu, he's positioned Lamala, meaning to the head side. Shlishi, the third one, is Lamate Menu, is positioned on the feet side of the Gadol. So the Gadol is in the middle, the three beds, the bed of the Gadol is in the middle, the bed of the Sheni Loi, the one that is a little bit less prominent than him, that bed is situated on the side of the Gadol's head. And finally, the Shlishi, his bed, is situated on the side of the Gadol's feet. Amar Lei, so Rav Zeir challenges, he says, this makes sense? When the Gadol wants to converse with the Sheni Loi, with the one that is a bit less prominent than him, how's he going to do it in his lying position? Since his head is facing a different direction, he's lying down, his face is facing this way, and the person that he wants to converse with is lying in the direction of his head. So in order to converse with him properly, when he wants to converse with him, he needs to straighten himself out and turn himself to the other one. He needs to straighten himself out, sit up, and speak with him. That's not convenient. It would be better to have the Sheni Loi situated to his feet. This way, he can merely turn to him slightly and discuss with him important matters. He doesn't need to straighten out and turn around. So what's the wisdom in placing him in that direction? Amar Lei, so the Reish Klusa told him, that's not a problem. Shani Parsoi, the Persians are different. The Machvile b'machag, they signal with all the types of signals, and therefore they don't need to get up and speak directly. They merely make all kinds of signals with their hands, with their fingers, and they converse in that manner. They're machvile b'machik. They display all kinds of signals, and therefore it's not a problem. When they come to wash their hands before the Suda, who is the first one to wash his hands? Amalei Reish Klusa says, Nagadol. They begin from the most prominent member of the dinner. Says the Gemara, Sheshes challenged that. What's the wisdom? Yeshiv Gadol Yishmiyadav, the older one, the more prominent one, will wash his hands, and needs to wait for the food until everybody washed their hands. Apparently, they didn't bring out the food until everybody was finished washing. So, what is the wisdom in giving the most prominent one the opportunity to wash his hands first? He'll have to sit there and idle until everybody washes their hands. Amalei, no, that's not a problem. Immediately after his washing, they bring his table in front of him with the food, so he doesn't need to wait. Where they begin their Ma'am Achronim from? So he told Amalei, Menakatan, from the least prominent member of the dinner. So he said, V'gadol, Yosef, V'yadav mezuhamois, Ad shenoitin kulam. Does that make sense? That the Gadol will sit, since they already removed the food. So everybody's sitting and waiting for the Ma'am Achronim, and they begin from the Katan. Until it gets to the Gadol, he has to sit around with soiled hands. Amalei, no, it's not a problem either. They don't remove his table with the food from him until the Ma'am Achronim gets to him. So he can sit and eat and wait until the Ma'am Achronim comes to him. So this was a description of the dinner of the Parsoim. Omar Sheshes, I know a Brisa which tells us the proper manner of the dinner arrangements. The Sana, as we learned, Ketzat Seder Seder. What is the manner? What is the Seder, the program of reclining by a meal? When we have two beds, Gadol Mesa Barosh. First, the most prominent one reclines, and the second in command, the one that is a bit less prominent, he is positioned to the Gadol's feet. In this manner, we address the problem mentioned earlier. So when the Gadol wants to speak to the Sheni Loi, he doesn't need to get up and sit up and turn to the Sheni who is situated towards his head, but rather he merely leans over, he looks over to the Sheni who is situated, a position near his feet. So this way, it is much better. Continues the Brachos Mashing Sholish. However, when we have three, then so first, the most prominent one lies down. In this case, they follow a similar method to the Parsim. They put the Sheni Lamala towards his head and the Shlishi Lamata. Because we have no choice. We can't place the Sheni Lamata Imenu, because that would be a lack of respect. That would indicate a lack of kavod towards the Sheni. By putting him towards the feet of the Gadol, and the Shlishi, who is even less prominent, putting him by the Rosh. That would be a pagam. That would be a chisar, a lack of respect to the Sheni. So although now the Gadol will have a hard time conversing with him, when we move him over to the Rosh, the Brachos said when we have three people, the Gadol sits in the middle, and the Sheni is Barosh, the Shlishi is by his feet. In this case, he'll have a hard time conversing with him, but nevertheless, that's better than positioning the Sheni by the feet of the Gadol, which is a less prominent position, and putting the third in command, putting him by the head of the Gadol. This will be an insult to the Sheni. So indeed, when we only have two people, then certainly we place the Gadol here, and the Sheni Lo is placed by his feet so they converse properly. But when we have three, we must move things around so that everybody's placed in the proper position. Maimer Shoinim, Maschil Min Gadol, the water brought before the meal. With that we begin by the Gadol, more prominent member. Maim Achroinim, however, the Maim Achroinim we do as follows. Bizman Shein Chamesh, and we have only 5 members, Maschil Min Gadol. We offer it to the most prominent member. He washes his hands first, and then the other 4 follow. But if there are many of them here, in this case, we don't want the Gadol to wash his hands first, and then he'll have to sit idle and wait until everybody washes his hands. Therefore, we do the following. Maschil Min Katan. We begin from the Katan, from the least prominent member of the dinner. We begin with him, and we go up the ladder until we come to the 5 final members. Now we have 5 that are left. Who is the one that's going to wash the first of the 5? The first of the 5 will be the Gadol, the most prominent member. And the Brachos continues, to the place where the Maim Achronim come to, meaning, in this case, the first of the last 5 members. L'sham bracha chazeres. This person will be given the honor of reciting Brachos Hamazon, since he's the Gadol. And as Rashi points out, in some cases the Gadol will honor somebody else, another of the 5 members here, and he will give him the honor of Brachos Hamazon. In that case, that person is meant to begin the last series of 5. He's meant to begin with the Maim Achronim of these 5 individuals, because he's going to be the one to recite the Brachos Hamazon. Says the Gemara, so apparently the one that begins the process of Maim Achronim, the first of the last 5, he begins the process of Achana, preparation of Brachos Hamazon. He is meant to conclude by making the Brachos Hamazon on account of the group. Mesayel el Rav. This supports Rav's teaching. One who washes his hands first, since he begins the process of preparation of Brachos Hamazon. Who mezum lebracha? He's designated to make Brachos Hamazon. You begin the process, you conclude it. Says a story. We had the story earlier. Rav, Rabbi Chia, they were guests. Haviyas v'Sadasa, they were guests by a meal. Kamei the Rebbe, in front of Rebbe. Amalei Rebbe l'Rav. Rebbe turned to Rav and he said as follows: Kum mashiyotcha, go wash your hands. Chazi. So Rabbi Chia saw that his fellow guest, that Rav, was kamirsis. He was agitated. He was uncomfortable. Why is Rebbe telling me to wash my hands? Perhaps they're dirty. Perhaps I'm prolonging my meal too much. He's indicating that I should shorten my meal. Amar Leis, Rabbi Chia told him, no, you're making a mistake. It was actually a complimentary reference. Bar Pachsi. He referred to Rav as Bar Pachsi, the son of noble, the son of great people. Ayin b'brichas mezayna kamalach. It wasn't an insult. It was actually very complimentary. What he meant to tell you was, go review Brachos Hamazon. You're going to be the one to be mezama, to make the Brachos Hamazon on account of all of us. That's why he told you to go wash your hands first. Because the one that washes his hands first is Maim Achronim. That's an indication that he's going to be the one to make the Brachos Hamazon on account of everyone. Since he begins the process, he is the one that will conclude it. So it actually wasn't an insult at all. It was a rather complimentary reference to you.